Yep, ready to go.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Wednesday, September 6, 2023 meeting of the Abington Heights School Board. If everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and do we have a roll call?
Yes, we can.
Mr. Abdallah?
Here.
Mr. Azar?
Here.
Mr. Fleming?
Here.
Mrs. Henderson?
Here.
Mrs. Karen?
Here.
Mr. Medinsky? Mr. Robeson?
Here.
Mrs. Tierney?
Here.
Mr. Acker? 7 people are present, 2 are absent.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
On the motion? Roll call?
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karen?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 7-0.
Dr. Schaefer, do you have a superintendent's report tonight?
There's no superintendent's report tonight.
Next item on the agenda is public comment. If there's anyone here tonight that would like to address the board, please come up to the microphone and state your name and the town that you live in. No, just here to watch? Okay. No public comment tonight. All
okay.
right, on to the action discussion.
Okay. Mr. Azar, I would ask the board to consider a motion to approve the personnel report as presented.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? I'd like to just offer here that there's someone on the agenda tonight who is unfortunately resigning from Abington Heights, but he's not going far for at least a little while. Jim Mirabelli, our business manager, stepping down effective October 21st, and has been here for how many years, Jim?
Almost 12 years.
Almost 12 years. 4 times as long as me. So I can just say that I've worked with Jim for the last 3 years. I have a background in finance, so I spent a good amount of time with him, and he is exceptional at what he does, and we're very sorry to see you go, but very excited for your future, and thank you very much for everything you've done for Abington Heights. You've been a great, great business manager while you've been here.
I very much appreciate that, and always appreciate the support the board's given me. You know, it's been amazing serving here, so many challenges, and we've served alongside each other, and I've had a great time working through those challenges to make some great changes. And you know, as you said, I'm not going far for a while, and I'll be staying in the school business space, and look forward to, you know, watching my comments go up through the system and remaining in the community. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim.
I echo that, and I also want to add, thank you for wearing all the different hats you did as you were here. I worked with you for the 12 years that you were here, and I don't know if anyone knows this, but Jim Mirabelli was our acting superintendent for a while during COVID. So that was a very challenging time, and Jim aced it. And I wish you well, Jim, and your family. Good luck to you, and please don't be a stranger around here.
I definitely won't. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Do I have a roll call?
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karen?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 7-0.
Mr. Azar, I ask the board consider a motion to approve the 2023 through 2026 comprehensive plan, including induction and professional development plans.
So moved. Second.
On the motion? Roll call?
Mrs. Karen?
Yes.
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. 7-0.
Mr. Azar, I'd ask that the board consider a motion to approve the 2023-24 school plans for Abington Heights Middle School, Clark Summit Elementary School, and Newton Ransom Elementary School.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call?
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam? Yes. Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 7-0.
Mr. Azar, I'd ask that the board consider a motion to approve the Abington Heights School District 2023-24 Federal Programs Equity Plan.
So moved. Second.
On the motion? Roll call?
Mr. Robeson?
Yes.
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam? Yes. Motion passes. Thank you. 7-0.
Mr. Azar, I would ask that the board consider a motion to approve the settlement agreement between Abington Heights School District and Student 17X.
So moved.
Second.
On the motion? Roll call?
Mrs. Tierney?
Yes.
Mr. Abdallah?
Yes.
Mr. Azar?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mrs. Henderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Karam? Yes. Mr. Robeson?
No. The amount in the settlement for the compensatory education fund is okay. I'm not okay with the attorney's fees. They're definitely not aligned with what's being submitted into the compensatory education fund. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion passes 6-1.
That is it.
We did have someone walk in, oh, I'm sorry. We did have someone walk in late. Did you want to address the board? We went over public comment already, but if you wanted to speak, if you had something you wanted to come for, or? Sure. If you could just step up to the mic and state your name and the town that you live in.
Hi, so my name is Fantine Summerhill. I'm the student's mother of Lucas Bratton, who's in 8th grade coming this year. We live in Newton Township on the boulevard. And I had discussed this with Mr. Evans, and I keep getting pushback. Last year, the whole 7th grade did not get their field trip like all of the other grades did. They got to go to very fancy amusement parks except the 7th grade. And I'm part of a Facebook group with all the 8th grade parents, and they all agreed that it was unacceptable, that the money was raised for them to be able to go to a regular amusement park like the other grades did. And all they got was the Lackawanna County State Park, and they ended up not even going to that because of the air quality. And I've been trying to get in touch with Mr. Evans. He was supposed to get things moving with teachers, that buses need to be like organized and all that, but I keep getting the feeling that it's not going to happen, that it's too much of work to get done for them, and it's just not. And they're all just going to go to the Washington field trip this year and miss on the one that everybody else had but them. So I wanted to address this.
Okay, thank you.
So without going into too much detail, I took notes, and I will speak with Dr. Vitale because this is something that I do recall from last year, and this is something that Dr. Vitale's worked with our principals throughout K-12 when talking about field trips. So we'll certainly address it and work with our families.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
that's all we want.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Any unfinished business?
I should have mentioned
Mrs.
something
Henderson?
earlier in the meeting, but I just wanted to thank Dr. Vitale for all the time, effort, and energy she put into the comprehensive plan, induction plan, and professional development. There's been significant improvements to the professional development plan, and I've, worked with her on the curriculum committee, so I've been able to have a front row view of how much, time and effort she's put into these things. So I just wanted to applaud her. I feel like you've gone above and beyond the call of duty in these areas. So I think just wanted to give you a little shout out. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
And just along those same lines, I know there were a lot of, this is relation to the IT committee. We had a lot of projects that were funded about a year and a half ago, and, the website was one of the first ones, but there were a lot of things, a lot of infrastructure that people really don't see to make our data safer, more reliable, and quicker. The network switch, which we have talked about for probably almost a year, is near completion, and also it went live on Friday. It's been upgraded to live on Friday. And then our other safety system that's going into the schools for the, I forget the name of it.
Raptor?
Raptor, which allows better safety during the school year when we have vendors and things like that in the school. So it's a quick, easy way and reliable way to track who's in the buildings, especially for, non-employees. So, we did a lot of that. We secured the funding and everything for it, and now we're seeing these things being completed. So I do want to give a shout out to our, our IT lead, Justin. He's done really a tremendous job, and we have more work to do. We have a long-term plan, but up until last week, we made some significant progress on completing some of the things that were in process. So shout out to that. And along those same lines, we just to let people know, we historically have had the IT committee the second Wednesday of the month. We recently changed that. So on the calendar, you may see that the IT meeting was canceled for this September. That's by design. We'll be meeting the second week of October. So I want to thank the board for their support in securing the funds so that we could do these things, and now we're seeing the results of it.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Robeson. Anyone else? Any new business? Okay, seeing none, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Fast meeting, 13 minutes. I think my other meeting was almost that fast, too.